me start this video by saying there are lots of great ways to vacation. There is no one right way. Everyone can have a different style of vacation and really enjoy it. But making decisions about what you want to do and what you prefer doing at a certain point in time, for me, is extremely difficult. So today I'm going to tackle a question that has come to me a few times now. Michael, which one are you going to prioritize? Disney Cruise or Disney World? Keep in mind, I'm talking about prioritizing and choosing, not which one I prefer. I'm not talking about that, because that question is totally impossible. There's no preference between the two. I'm going to talk about positives and negatives and what I like and things I like even more. I don't think there's things I dislike at all about either. So it's just which one are you feeling like at a certain point in time. I'm going to try to answer it. Let's start off with the basics. I've been going to Walt Disney World since before I was born. Yes, I did say that right, and you can find more about me in the About Me video right there. But I love Walt Disney World. It feels like home to me. I love the attractions, the fireworks, the shows, everything about it. I totally love it. That is home.
Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Just fantastic. On the other hand, Disney Cruise Line is relatively new in my life and my family's life. We just started our first cruise last year, so there are a lot of things that we're starting to experience that also revolve around Disney. Little moments here in the extended veranda. We've just opened it up between the two. So you see we've got 4 chairs on each side and the room that goes through. We basically have 2 connected rooms right next to each other. It's fantastic. Donald, how are you? Loving this outfit. You ready for Pirate Night, I can tell. Walt Disney World and the Disney Cruise Line are different in many ways. More ways than I can probably get into, but I'm going to touch on some of the biggest differences that you'll feel if you've never been on a Disney cruise, or maybe never been to Walt Disney World but go on the Disney cruises. I'm not sure there are many of those, but if you are one of those, let me know in the comments. But the first thing you'll notice if you've been to Walt Disney World a lot, never been on a Disney cruise, is the room size. At Walt Disney World they have tons of space. Walt was really thinking ahead, and they keep building new resorts. At the time of filming, they're actually constructing 2 right now, so there's a lot going on at Walt Disney World, and the rooms are relatively large when you compare them to the Disney Cruise Line. When I first walked into the Disney Cruise Line stateroom, I immediately started to feel like I had to move my shoulders closer together because you walk in and you're like, okay, this is small. You know, you gotta get used to it. You gotta kind of adapt a little bit, and you have to, I would recommend, pack less. Wow, okay, so it's not huge, it's not enormous, but we're inside a cruise ship, remember. So we do have a little bit of space, though. It's larger than most cabins, and look at this extended veranda. Now, if we're thinking about the specifics of the room size, at a value resort, the room sizes are about 260 square feet. For a stateroom, an inside stateroom on a Disney cruise ship, it's approximately 169 square feet. So you're losing almost 100 square feet when you go to the Disney Cruise Line. Just something to be aware of if you've never been before. But that's just comparing an inside room to a value resort at Walt Disney World. Obviously, if you increase to a deluxe resort at Walt Disney World, you're going to get a lot more space. Maybe a concierge suite on a Disney cruise, you'll get a lot more space. So that's just comparing value resort to an inside stateroom at a Disney cruise. When you're thinking about different room sizes, also think about the size of your parties. If there are 4 of you and you're trying to stay in a stateroom that's 169 square feet versus 260 square feet, you're really going to feel the difference. But if it's 2 of you, you might not feel it as much. So little things like that to consider. Now let's talk about the entertainment. Walt Disney World is well known for having fantastic rides, great shows, parades, fireworks, all sorts of great entertainment both day and night. On the Disney Cruise Line, they have lots of activities running throughout the day and at night, but it's very different than Walt Disney World. You're not going to find Big Thunder Mountain Railroad or Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin on the cruise line. Instead, you might find the Aqueduct, that cool slide, different game shows, you know, the theater shows at night. So there's a lot of different types of things happening, but there are a lot of activities nonetheless. I went into the cruise expecting that the pools would be overrun, there would be people everywhere, lines to everything that would go on for hours, just crowds all over the cruise ship because everyone was in one space. You couldn't leave the ship, obviously, when you're at sea. To my surprise, that was not the case at all. Even the second cruise I went on the Wonder, which is a smaller ship and was at sea for a longer period of time, never got to those crowd levels that I was expecting or could think about in my mind. If you've been to Walt Disney World during a crowded time of year, you definitely know what it feels like to have a lot of people around you, ready to see the fireworks show, people, you know, saving their spots hours in advance. You have to stand there. It's different. It's totally different on a Disney cruise, and there are many times, on a Disney cruise where it's less crowded than Walt Disney World. I honestly never thought I would say that. Even the most crowded time on the Disney cruise, I would say the pirate fireworks we're not even close to the crowds that you can experience at Walt Disney World during the crowded time of year. I keep saying that because it's important. If you go in September, you're not going to experience the same crowd levels as if you go in December to Walt Disney World. But the Disney Cruise Line never felt nearly as crowded. I don't know why. I don't know. I have no idea. You can easily just step back a little bit and you have lots of empty space on the cruise line. I don't get it. Someone please explain this to me, but it's great. Now for the dining, and this is where things get a little complicated. At Walt Disney World, officially on their website, they have 377 food areas. I'm not even going to say restaurants because some of those are like kiosks, but they do have 377 areas where you can get food. The Disney Cruise Line cannot even get close to that number. Ice cream, Pete's Boiler Point, all the counter service and coffee shops combined couldn't even get close to the number of restaurants and dining locations that Walt Disney World has. There's no doubt that Disney World has more options and more different dining locations than the Disney Cruise Line, but let's pretend we're going there for a week, Disney Cruise versus Disney World. No person can eat at all 377 locations, so you have to choose them. And that's where the quality of the food really comes into play. How something tastes is totally based on opinion. Someone might love this one dish, the same dish to another person, someone might really not like it, so it's totally based on opinion. Disney World has fantastic food. Some of my favorites, Geyser Point, California Grill, they are fantastic. And you can compare them, like on the Disney Cruise Line, to Animator's Palette and Tiana's Place, which also have fantastic food. So this is where the lines start to blur a little bit between Disney World and the Disney Cruise. It's totally based on opinion. Which food do you prefer? The food on a Disney Cruise or at Disney World? But keep in mind, as you're thinking about all this and letting me know right there in the poll, the food on a Disney cruise is included with the price of your cruise. If you go to Walt Disney World and eat at California Grill 3 times a day, it's going to cost you a lot more to go to Walt Disney World. So think about these things as you're considering the different food options. Disney World has 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, 1 Disney Springs area, and a whole plethora of resorts to explore. So you could go for years to come and see something new every single time. By comparison, the Disney Cruise Line only has that 1 ship for you to see and experience. And you might be thinking to yourself, Michael, I'm going to get bored, it's a limited space, I can only see it once or twice, then I'm going to get so bored of it. I can understand that thought, but don't forget, Disney Cruise Line is taking you to different places all around the world for you to see and explore, so that's a huge part of it. It's always something new as well. Now, there are plenty of other smaller differences between Disney World and the Disney Cruise Line. For example, which character are you interested in seeing? If you really want to see Spider-Man, you can't see him at Walt Disney World because of copyright issues. You have to go on a Disney Cruise Line or to Disneyland. The photo packages are also totally different. At Walt Disney World, you buy 1 photo package and everyone is included. On a Disney cruise, it's by stateroom, so 1 stateroom gets 1 photo package. So if you have several staterooms, that's something to consider. Disney is well known for out-of-this-world customer service, and if you've been to Walt Disney World, you've definitely gotten a taste of what that's like. The cast members at Disney World do an unbelievable job. They're smiling all the time, ready to help you, answer questions, show you where you need to go, give you directions, whatever it is. They are always standing by to help, and they're always so respectful. On the Disney Cruise Line, and don't forget, this is only my opinion, I feel like they take the service and they crank it up even 1 step further. When you finish your meal at Cabana's, the plate is gone. You want something custom made just for you, they will make it. You want something special for dessert just for your birthday with 3 extra candles and 4 extra desserts, they're going to make sure that it happens just for you. By no stretch of the imagination am I saying that Disney World customer service is bad. Not at all. It is actually fantastic. And let me tell you, if the Disney World cast members were taking care of the same number of guests as the Disney crew on the Disney Cruise Line, it would be the same, I'm telling you. But they just have to deal with so many more people at Walt Disney World, it feels different to the customer. Of course, there are more differences between the Disney Cruise Line and Walt Disney World, but those are some of the biggest ones that I think about when I'm considering my priorities and whether I'm going to Walt Disney World at some point or on the Disney Cruise Line. And now for the part you may have been waiting for. Michael, which one do you prioritize? Disney World or the Disney Cruise Line? It's a very good question, but it's also a very personal decision for everyone. So for me, I sometimes feel like I really want to get back to Walt Disney World right away. I miss it. I really do miss the Flower and Garden Festival. At other points, I'm saying to myself, oh my gosh, I'm hoping to do an Alaska cruise and I want to go back to Castaway Cay. So it continues to go back and forth. And I can have a feeling forever and ever it's going to keep doing that for me. I'm going to sometimes feel like, oh, I got to get back to Walt Disney World. Other times feel like I got to get back to the Disney Cruise Line. It's just going to go back and forth and back and forth. forth. You might be saying, Michael, just pick one. You have to choose one. Which one is it going to be? I can't do it. I'm sorry. I wish I could. Sometimes it's Disney World, sometimes it's Disney Cruise Line. I don't consider them either better than the other. They're just totally different. They are completely different. I love them both, and I'm looking forward to experiencing both of them more in the future. Now it's your turn to try and answer the impossible question, and of course you can say the same as me. They're equal, absolutely, but you can let me know right there in the poll and in the comments below which one you prioritize more. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.